His third season here. In spite of the record you see on the screen, the arrow is pointing up. He's recruiting Manning-type players. In fact, there are only 2 holdovers. Everyone else on the roster, a Danny Manning guy.
Yeah, you're talking about a team that's very young. 8 of their 13 players, freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah. Roy Williams, of course, the Hall of Famer, the veteran, 379, 111 mark at North Carolina. A potential trap game here. They just played terrific against NC State. They got a showdown Saturday at home against Florida State, who last night beat Duke. And here they are playing Wake Forest. But if you learned anything about the ACC this year, and he knows it as well as anybody, lost to Georgia Tech on the road. Nothing is simple on the road.
Not without a doubt. And tonight is going to be interesting because as a player, Ravi, you have a tendency to look ahead. And as well as Florida State's been playing, I wouldn't doubt at all if this team's looking ahead. Maybe an opportunity for Wake to take one here at home.
All right, let's see it as Isaiah Hicks will jump center for Carolina, and they lose it. Wake Forest will control the ball. Bigger crowd on hand tonight at the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum than they have seen in a while, and perhaps that speaks to what Manning is doing here.
Going to try to get that thing inside early to try to establish John Collins in the low post.
Well, that's Collins, and instead of kicking it out to a wide-open 3-shooter in Bryant Crawford, he went up and had it go out of bounds off Carolina.
Really good hustle by Middleglue, keeping that basketball alive, keeping it in Wake Forest possession.
Carolina lives off turnovers, and they live on the offensive glass. Wake Forest not afraid to run with them, though, when they get the opportunity. They get some really good outside shooters as well.
And they're going to be looking for opportunities in the half court to attack the painted area, but try to make the extra pass as well.
Foul line jumper. We're going to get a foul called, our first of the game. That goes against Justin Jackson. Well, we've been reminded by a few of the fans here. One of them just came up and said, you understand what has happened the last 23 times we played North Carolina? And I said, it's not good. He knew the number. It was 3-20. They're 1-21 against top 25 opponents under Danny Manning. And in the ACC, you get a lot of chances to play top 25 teams.
Especially this year.
Especially this year. All right, first possession for North Carolina. Wake starts out in a man-to-man. They set a high screen. Jackson's first shot is way off. And the rebound goes to Wake.
I like it better when Justin Jackson is attacking all the way to the rim on his first shot, because he can either get fouled or get a layup, and that'll set up his three-point game.
Bryant Crawford all the way to the basket. And he gets it to go. And a nice start for Wake Forest.
Bryant Crawford just continues to improve. I like it when he's in attack mode as well. If he can continue to get paint touches, it'll open up some perimeter jump shots where they're shooting nearly 40% from three.
Kenny Williams thought about it. It would have been a long three. Instead, they get it to Meeks, and he fades away. That's off as well, and Forrest with a rebound.
Yeah, that's not a shot that you want Kennedy Meeks shooting. You want him using that big body and trying to get to the front of the rim. Power moves for number 3 in blue.
Collins lost that one on his way up, and that's going to be Carolina ball. Let's keep an eye on Jackson. He is as dynamic a scorer as they have, Fonzo. And you said sometimes he starts out, and he can be a streaky shooter.
That can be a little hot and cold, but I like the attack here by Bryant Crawford early, because what it does is sets an aggressive mentality for your team, something that Wake Forest desperately needs.
Good defense by Austin Arians. There's a long three. That one off. Offensive rebound, no. Controlled by Wake. So they're doing a good job on the defensive glass. No second chances for North Carolina yet. You can see their plan. Get it to Collins and let him go to work.
Yeah, you got to give him some room to operate, though. And he's got to be quick, make quick moves when he gets it.
That was better?
I love it.
Like that.
Yes, sir.
Quick start for Wake Forest, up 6-0, and a traveling call on Williams.
And right now, you know, folks, when you are a really good interior low post player, when you catch that rock, make a quick move. It gives you the angle to be able to shoot it over the top or off the glass. I love when John Collins is catching that thing and going quick. Really nice move by number 20.
You know who doesn't love it? Roy Williams. 6'10", 235-pound sophomore is Collins. Alley-oop to him, and he knocks it through for another two, and it's 8-0 Wake.
What a back screen. North Carolina's got to get something going to the basket. Everything's been a jump shot to this stage of the game.
Well, Berry does just that, and he gets the first bucket of the night for North Carolina. This feels like an NFL game. Do you have a headset right into North Carolina? We got to get to the bucket. That's what he did.
I'm the offensive coordinator.
Wake Forest has been in almost all of their games, and in fact, they have blown first half leads in 5 recent games. Wild shot there, and it's contested, and Carolina comes away with it.
And I like the dribble drive attack. It's just that with the way that North Carolina converges to the basketball, once you hit the painted area, you got to think pass. That's a very difficult shot to make over 2 guys.
There's the alley-oop. Middleglu was caught out top, and as a result, they were able to throw it down low. And it's now 8-4.
And Ravi, notice first 3 possessions for Carolina, jump shots. Now the last 2 possessions at the rim. They have to continue to attack off the bounce or throw it inside to the bigs.
In the meantime, we haven't seen too many outside shots from Wake. There's the first. Austin Arians buries a 3.
And folks, he can really stretch the defense. He was really an answer to prayer for this Wake Forest team because they needed a 3 to come in and be able to knock down threes. About 43% on the year.
50-year transfer out of Milwaukee. Great cut and an easy layup there. Good pass as well. That set up Justin Jackson for the finger roll.
Did a really nice job of curling off of that screen, forcing the defender to trail. And what a pretty pass and finish. Keep going into Collins.
Didn't get the friendly roll. Everybody watched it bounce around the rim for a few seconds. Carolina was hammering NC State at the half. A contested jump shot. Jackson gets fouled by Austin Arians. And they ended up winning by over 50. They led by 33 at the break. But so far, Wake Forest doing what it wants to do.
And folks, look at this ball.
6, and the tricks of the trade in television. How do you make a 5'7" guy look a little taller than a 6'8" guy? You have the 6'8" guy sit and the short guy stand. It's like, how does Wake Forest beat North Carolina? They're off to a really good start. We mentioned maybe a trap game here with Florida State coming up off the win of NC State. What is Wake Forest doing well so far?
Wake Forest has been doing a great job of attacking to the rim, throwing the basketball inside when they've not gotten perimeter jump shots. North Carolina started out this game, Ravi. They started out with 3 straight jump shots. For this team to win, they have to continue to attack off the bounce. We saw them do that in the last 3 possessions.
My man, Uncle Seth, says you always try to bank, Seth Greenberg, bank these road wins. They're so hard to get. It was a real stunning loss that North Carolina suffered to Georgia Tech, especially in light of what we've seen from Georgia Tech against Duke last week. I mean, they were drubbed by over 50. Roy Williams really didn't have an explanation for it. It's one of those sort of things you watch happen and you can't understand it. And you assume at some point they'll get hot. And later as the game wore on, you realize we're not going to get hot tonight.
And they really just kind of panicked. They weren't able to make any shots, and before you know it, that game was over. But how about the comeback the other night at home against North Carolina State? Blitzed them on their home floor.
Mitchell Wilbekin, number 10, into the game as a substitute for Wake Forest. Same 5 that started for North Carolina. Berry had it on the floor, lost it, picks it back up. Nobody there to grab the ball when he had it down low. And working one-on-one, Isaiah Hicks. Ooh! The block there from Ralph Moore, who's in the game. The sophomore 7'1", 265-pound center. Notre Dame and Miami will be there tomorrow night. Dick Vitale will join me in Coral Gables. And then when that one's over, how about the Mustangs of SMU? They hit into Cincinnati. The Mustangs have won 10 in a row. 2 top teams in the AAC after the ACC.
And folks, keep your eye on Bonzie Colson of Notre Dame, already leading the ACC in double-doubles with 10. How about this, folks? 6'5", power forward, getting it done in the ACC.
It sure is. Well, North Carolina has worked their way back as they begin to substitute as well. By as Fonzo had suggested, let's get some action inside the paint. They're a terrific points in the paint team. Luke May comes into the game. He wears number 32. And off to the bench for a rest goes Isaiah Hicks.
And you're talking about a Wake Forest team that doesn't have a lot of depth.
Yeah.
So it actually behooves Carolina to attack off the bounce, trying to get to the rim. They've been able to get to the foul line. I'd like to see them continue to do it for the balance of this game.
Brandon Childress into the game. He wears number 0. Childress, of course, famous last name here at Wake Forest. His dad, Randolph Childress, one of the great players in Wake Forest history. Also an assistant coach on this team right now, so he watches his son play. The baseline jumper missed by Tony Bradley. Number 5 is into the game for Carolina. Cold shooting start from the outside for the Tar Heels as you take a look at the banner that hang. Now, is that odd? Like you're on the floor. You know your dad, obviously, is a coach here. He played here, and yet you look up every day, and there he is.
It's a little subtle reminder, but at the same time, being a dad of a future college basketball player, if they get a steal here and get transition, something that Wake Forest did not want to happen, can allow many easy points for Carolina, especially on live ball turnovers. But as a dad, and you have a younger kid who's playing hoops and kind of following your footsteps, you continue to tell them day in and day out, it's really about you establishing yours. And I know Randolph Childress has done the same with Brandon.
Can only do so much as a dad. Now it's on you and your own merits. He walked there. And struggled. We talk about playing, though, in the shadow. Like there's a poster of your dad.
Yeah.
You know, a banner hanging. That's the literal shadow.
That is true.
Carolina's now grabbed a 1-point lead. May's a good story. His dad went here, played football at North Carolina, and there's the 3 from Joel Berry. And they're on an 11-0 run now.
Well, a lot of people felt his dad actually had the potential to make it into the NFL, but he had a really severe shoulder injury, and it just never materialized.
May, though, has sort of become this guy, this energizer guy. Almost had a double-double the other day. Came in against North Carolina State. Quickly grabbed 8 boards. Gets called for the foul there.
Yeah, had 9 points in that game as well. A guy who's got 3-point range, really bouncy, active, gets on the offensive glass, runs the floor well also. But Coach Roy told us earlier, he's a little bit too confident of a shooter at times, so he's got to rein him in a little bit.
They get the double foul. They call the foul on Collins as well. The Wake Forest ball underneath.
He's going to have to be careful because Wake Forest can ill afford to get him in foul trouble.
Childress comes out of the game, into the game, and shooting, grabbed on the floor. It's Keyshawn Woods. The other connection between May and his dad is that while Luke May's dad was starring in high school, at the same time in Carolina, another star was on the scene, and that was Danny Manning, Greensboro High School.
Wow. How good was Danny? Well, wow, he's so good.
Jackson's got 2 fouls, 3-pointers straight away. That one is dropped by Brian Crawford, and it's a biggie. Settles that 11-0 run down. It's his 7th point. Great defense, and there's your access denied by Doral Moore.
7'1", 265 pounds. And he's a guy that they're going to look to be able to patrol the middle and take care of the rim. This is the team. I think the difference with this team this year than over the last 2 or 3 years, they've not had much rim protection. With Doral Moore, they have it. With John Collins, they haven't. And I think that's why they've been in so many good games this year. 5 games now where they have leads going into halftime.
Moore to the bench. Dinos Mitiglu in to replace him. Berry, that ball is blocked. It was Mitiglu, 2nd consecutive block. Shot clock winds down, and they don't get it off. Good defense by Wake Forest. To Fonzie's delight as a big guy, protecting the rim, protecting your home turf.
Yeah, that painted area as a big, especially if you're a shot blocker, you have to own that space and own that real estate on the defensive end. 2 block shots in the same possession. Nicely done by Wake Forest.
Crawford all the way to the rack, maybe over the back, and it will be. And for Collins, that's another foul. That's the guy that they can ill afford to have to go to the bench. That's his 2nd, and he likely will take a seat. But the only thing that hasn't gone well for Wake Forest so far, down 2, under 12. social media, newspaper, Dennis Smith Jr., the NC State great guard, and Joel Berry, of course. And anytime they faced off against each other, there were going to be comparisons. Berry went for 19 points with 3 threes, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in that blowout win against NC State. He no doubt took that as a personal challenge.
Absolutely, and he did it in only 23 minutes, but he has to credit his teammates as well. They trapped Dennis Smith Jr. early in the game, attacked him, got him in foul trouble to get him out of the basketball game. So a complete Tar Heel effort against one of the best point guards in the nation.
Made 3 short offensive rebound is put back up and in by Tony Bradley, a freshman 6'11", 240-pounder.
And folks, with John Collins, number 20 for Wake Forest, now in foul trouble, this Wake Forest team becomes one-dimensional on the offensive end because Dinos Middleglue has gotten better on the post, but that's not really his strength. And if he can get something going down here, it would be huge for Wake Forest on the offensive end.
All right, working against May, one-on-one, throws it up. Good defense by May. Ball kept alive, 3-point shot. In and out.
Did you see how cautious he was when he turned into the lane? We talked about the importance of making a quick move, which gives you separation to be able to make it to the basket. You can see he's a little uncomfortable when he catches it on the post.
They're going to call the hook on Tony Bradley, offensive foul, his first, and we'll go back the other way. Yeah, and this is the building program for Manning. You talk about depth, and Collins is out. In the case of Carolina, they lose a player. Meeks, you see him sitting there behind Roy Williams. You bring in an Isaiah Hicks, and you substitute Justin Jackson out, and you bring in a Tony Bradley. That's yet to be established here by Wake, but Danny and the other folks here think it's coming.
4 bigs on the offense, 4 bigs for Carolina that they can continue to rotate night in and night out. But to your point, Darrell Moore, particularly number 4, he's not there yet offensively, but he gives him so much on the defensive end with deflections and block shots and rebounds, and he's going to have to do that here to hold down the fort with John Collins out.
Middleglue, look at him, he says, I went straight up, didn't use my body. But they call the foul on Dinos Middleglue, his first. If you take a look at the Tar Heels, and we mentioned the turnovers they turn into the points in the paint, their offensive rebounds there amongst the best in the country.
I mean, second chance points just off the charts, and that's something that Wake Forest has been able to do here early tonight. If to my count, they've only allowed 2 second chance points, and for them to have a chance to beat Carolina tonight, they're going to have to continue to keep them off the offensive glass, make Carolina have to play in the half court offensively.
May misses his first, he makes the second. He's going to come out of the game, back into the game, Isaiah Hicks and Kennedy Meeks. So you're seeing that 4-man, big man rotation. And Wake Forest, after that fast start, as Danny Manning told us earlier today at the shoot-around, we got to make our shots. If we don't make our shots, we're not going to win. Whoa! Moore's having a game.
And that's where he can make an enormous contribution because, again, Carolina really comes and attacks the basketball defensively, and oftentimes that's a guard that's trying to box out a big. He's no match for Darrell Moore at 265.
He got his hand on that, the deflected pass. 7th, Woods able to pull his hand back so it didn't deflect off it. He'll throw the inbounds pass. Freshman guard who has a bad habit of turning the ball over. Had a good game against NC State. I hope it continues tonight. Another block. It looked like Moore may have gotten a piece of that one.
Yes, he did.
Middleglue, long 3 off the front iron, and not a great shot.
Just a little bit out of his range.
They're going to get the foul on the floor. Call that on Bryant Crawford.
Folks, watch Darrell Moore here. As the basketball, see how Carolina converges to the basketball, and now he just throws the name out of the way. And then here, he's been absolutely cleaning it up on the defensive end here with several block shots here in the first half. So we talked about the front line of Wake Forest having to step up in John Collins' absence. Darrell Moore has been exceptional here in the first half.
I'd love to see him develop into a force down low. Long 3 ball. Off the iron, it's rebounded by Middleglue.
Yeah, Wake will give Pinson that shot. That's not his strength.
Theo Pinson just back last game from injury, and he got a chance to get some minutes, and they really like what he brings to Carolina as far as his energy, improves them on defense, and he just missed an easy layup with his left hand as Wake tries to break.
It's going to take him a little while to get his legs back under him, having been out for so long. With Theo Pinson, make no mistake about it, he'll be a factor for this North Carolina team as we get closer and closer to March Madness.
Neither team shooting particularly well here early as Moore takes it into the lane. The move was great.
Yeah, you see, just doesn't have
the shot wasn't there yet. Oh, the steal and the near dunk will get a foul. What an effort by Brian Crawford to go up for the flush.
I didn't know BC had bounce like that. I mean, how about the anticipation skills and then the burst to get into the passing lane here to steal that rock, and look at the challenge over the top. Little fella over Kennedy Meeks. That was impressive.
Sneaky Brian Crawford. And that's a mistake. Kennedy Meeks, given the fact that he's been around for a while in this program, the senior, can ill afford to make.
Yeah, Brian Crawford had a great opportunity last year, started the first day of his freshman year due to a preseason foot injury to Cody Miller-McIntyre, and he's done a remarkable job. Look at the challenge here. I love when those little guys go in there and challenge the big guys.
I thought I was supposed to love that. You like that too?
Oh, well, I tried to block yours. You probably dunk it over the top
oh,
of me,
yeah, I would. As long as you're sitting in the chair you were at the beginning of the show.
I've heard about your hops at campus.
Call that foul on Sam Jaffet Mathias. He's just into the game. Moore got a good round of applause as he went to the bench. And because of that, they're in the bonus.
Well deserved.
It's not a fiery pace, Fonzie, but it is a good pace for Wake Forest when you just look at the scoreboard and realize it's a one-point game. Terrific games in the ACC coming up. Duke and Louisville on Saturday at noon Eastern time, and then at 2 o'clock, Florida State, off of their really impressive win last night at home against Duke. They get this Tar Heel team. Florida State in the ACC has been the best so far, and they're in the midst of a real gauntlet. Their next 3 games against ranked teams. They're unbeaten in conference. They've beaten 3 ranked teams already.
A team with great balance and with a closer in Dwayne Bacon, who in the past has been more of a penetrator, slasher kind of guy, but has really worked on his 3-ball. And I like how patient he's been, not looking to hunt his shots. And he and Xavier Rattan-Mays, who's a terrific point guard. And you got a guy who's a rim protector on the inside, and Michael Ojo, who's just a freak of nature at 7 feet tall and 300 pounds.
Yeah. Kumaja's another 7-footer they got there. And Terrence Mann as well. And
yes.
They play with a little edge, does Florida State. Good.
Nice.
Interior pass to Isaiah Hicks, who lays it in. Now 22-17. That's the 8th for Hicks, and Danny Manning will call a timeout to talk about it. With Collins out, the inside is available, and Carolina's taken advantage of it. Back in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where the Carolina Tar Heels have all of a sudden opened up themselves a 5-point lead. Talked about John Collins going out with 11:55 to go, the big superstar player for Wake Forest. And there has been a different feel to the game. Wake Forest's issue this year has been their field goal percentage defense, 44%. Right now, Carolina shooting 41. And the bigger story is Wake Forest 6 of 20 from the field. They've made only 1 of their last 10 field goals.
Yeah, with John Collins out, remember I mentioned to you, they become one-dimensional, so they really depend on trying to get something off the drive. And I like the fact that they're able to get something to Austin Arians off a little screen to get him moving out in space. You know, something that North Carolina tries to do with Justin Jackson a lot as well. But right now, they got to get as much as they can from their perimeter players with John Collins out.
That ball blocked, and it went off for Meeks, so it'll be Wake Forest ball. NBA Friday double dip, Eastern Conference. Isaiah Thomas and the Celtics take on the Hawks. That's at 8 Eastern time. And you can only see that game on ESPN. Then at 10:30, Salt Lake City, the Pistons and the Jazz. It tips with the NBA countdown. It's charged by Mountain Dew at 7. Streams live on the ESPN app. And watch ESPN.
Ravi, speaking of Atlanta,
yeah.
How about Cleveland picking up Kyle Korver? What a great pickup in the absence of one of the, in my opinion, premier shooters
yeah.
in the league.
How about that three in the face of Kennedy Meeks, and all of a sudden, Arians and Brian Crawford. Crawford now has 11. We're tied at 22. Kind of an important stretch here for Wake Forest. They've hit 2 big shots.
Yeah, really resilient from this young team. Because remember, folks, they've been up at halftime. Wow, what a nice baseline hook shot for Kennedy Meeks. See why it's so good when bigs catch it and go quickly. The results are impressive. Kennedy Meeks doing a nice job there. But with this team being as young, folks, they've been up at halftime of 5 different games and not been able to close. And so for them playing without John Collins right now and getting it back close and not letting it get away, that's a good sign for a young team.
Berry came back into the game and right away picked up a foul. Looked like his feet got tied up with Brian Crawford's. And that's his second foul. So a couple of the starters, each with 2 fouls. Crawford and Collins go to the bench. Real good free throw shooter, Joel Berry on the line. 93% shooter.
And folks, this is what we were talking about earlier, those blown halftime leads. This is a group, and this has really plagued them not only this year, but the last 2 years. And that's the next step for this very young team. Again, 8 of their 13 players are freshmen and sophomores. For them to take the next step, they got to be able to close out these games where they have these leads in the first half, and sometimes even late in the second half.
So after Berry made 2, it's a 4-point game. So what is that? Is that because they're young? They get tired? There's not enough depth? They're inexperienced? What will experience do when it comes to closing games?
Yeah, it's that inexperience. It's not knowing the things that you need to do down the stretch when the game is tight. When you're an experienced player, you've been there before, so you don't panic. I went to and played for the Atlanta Hawks my 8th season, and it's funny. We got down early against New Jersey as Justin Jackson knocks down a huge 3. We got down early against New Jersey on our home floor down in Atlanta, Ravi, and having been on the team that went 11-71 the year prior,
which isn't good.
I was sitting there on the bench as a starter. I'm kind of panicking a little bit. I look around to Steve Smith, Mookie Blaylock, Dikembe Mutombo as Middleglue knocks one nicely off the glass, and they're sitting there just as calm as could be. We went out there and went on a 10-0 run to close the game.
And you were, so now you were not used to it, and you said, oh, now I see how this works.
Yeah. And so the next time we were down, wow, North Carolina really starting to heat up from 3. So the next time I was in that situation, I didn't panic. And that's the next step for this Wake Forest team.
That was Kenny Williams who knocked down that 3. Largest lead of the game we've seen here. They're up 8-32-24. Now, were those players there the year before?
Yes, they had been playing together for about 2 years, and by that time, Steve Smith had been in the league for about 8-9 years. Dikembe, the same. And so those guys, they had seen it all.
We'll get some names that you just gave on that team as that shot's off the iron. Chance to go up 10, maybe more. Berry fouled and bumped. They're going to call it on the floor, but that'll send him to the line.
Carolina, not a great 3-point shooting team, but they can get into a pretty good rhythm, and Wake Forest has done a great job of challenging them at the rim and forcing them to make perimeter jump shots. When we talked to Danny Manning earlier today, he told us that he would live or die with Carolina making perimeter jump shots. They missed them early. They're starting to make them now.
Oh, that's a huge tip in, too. On a rare free throw miss, Tony Bradley is able to pick up that very short free throw, and the lead is now 10, and real critical in the last 5 minutes of this first half for Wake Forest, given their proclivity for losing leads in the second half. You sure don't want a 10-point deficit going into the second half. Wild shot, and the deflection is no good for Moore, who's back into the game. Jackson can't get it to go, and Darrell Moore goes up in traffic and pulls it down.
He really does. This is what they need, something easy.
Well, they had something easy. It was missed, the layup initially by Wilbekin, but tipped in. Right back the other way. Berry, that's too easy.
Yeah. And Darrell Moore at that stage, he was right underneath the basket. When you have the wingspan that he has as a shot blocker, you have to step up and take away the angle. Stay back, and Joel Berry did exactly what he should do. Touches it softly and high off the glass.
3-point shot, Wilbekin. Bang! That is the brother of Scotty Wilbekin, of course, who went to Florida. It was a terrific, terrific player for the Gators. Well, contact, no call. Offensive board, no good. There's some contact, and we're going to get a foul. Looked like that was created by Tony Bradley, and we saw Dinos Mitiglu look over to Mike Eads. It's going to be the second on Mitiglu, and down on the ground holding his head is Tony Bradley. Roy Williams on the floor as well to talk to his 6'11", 240-pound freshman. Watch Bradley duck his head, and he runs into a Mitiglu wall right there.
Yeah, got a little neck, too.
We'll check on him when we come back to Winston-Salem. He hit his head on the floor, too.
Bad start, 0 for 8. But they started pushing the ball, and you even said it, man, they're not afraid. They're just flying down the court. North Carolina takes the lead.
Better have your track spikes on for this one. We'll see what you have. Ravi, Fonz, back to you guys.
I got my shoes, my sneaks on.
Yeah, I have shoes.
You got real shoes.
But I should have worn my St. Louis Cardinals cap because I know how much of a Cubs fan Dockich is.
Dockich was at the World Series, and he hasn't come off cloud nine, although there are many who will tell you he's always in the clouds. I don't particularly agree with that.
Me neither.
Looking forward to the Land Rover halftime report with Chris and Dan. 36-29 here. Bradley has gone to the locker room, and his walk was one of those woozy walks.
Yeah.
The good news is he was up walking on his own, but there's a real good chance that he's going to be examined for concussions and things like that. And obviously, he's one of their big bodies. He's got 4 offensive rebounds. As you watch number 5, he sort of lists to the left right around this area right there.
Yeah, wow, so sad. Hopefully he can recover here.
Yeah, they have that big game coming up with Florida State, and he's been great on the offensive glass today with the 4 rebounds. 38-29, Carolina. Carl Ravitch and Fonzie Ellis here at Winston-Salem. Arians has only taken 2 shots, a 3. Wow, a wild kind of turnaround hook shot.
Yeah, from 12 feet out. That's a tough shot. That is not what Coach Manning would have wanted in that case.
Timeout. Let's see if we can get Arians with the 18-foot hook. Kareem showed. Kennedy Meeks with a tough shot. May does some battle on the offensive glass, but Wake comes away with it. Every trip so critical for Wake, and they just coughed it up. May on the ground, and he's able to get it to Meeks, who throws it up, and they got a chance for a layup, and they get it. And Kenny Williams with 7.
Yeah, you just can't turn it over against Carolina. Their ability to turn a turnover into a made basket is one of the most impressive that I've seen in the country. They really get down the floor quickly.
Another turnover as that one appeared to go off the foot. Now they're going to keep it here. It looks like Keyshawn Woods may have kicked it.
Ravi, at times on dribble penetration, the last 2 possessions, Wake Forest look a little tired, a little fatigued. They have some really good ball handlers out there on the floor, especially Keyshawn Woods, number 1. And I think he needed a blow at that moment, because as he turned the corner, he had no legs to be able to explode through the gap. And that's the advantage that Carolina has. They practically have 12 guys that they can play, including Stillman White.
Well, Mitiglu and Collins back in the game with 2:30 to go each, with 2 fouls, and each critical that they stay with 2 fouls. Long 3 as the shot clock was under 5, and it's missed by Crawford.
I thought Crawford could have gotten into the gap and gotten himself a better shot there. It's 2 possessions in a row now that Wake Forest hasn't gotten a good look at the basket. Little 2-3 zone here. Short corner, folks, and the dive.
Too easy, and Collins and Mitiglu did not want to pick up foul number 3, and that led to an easy dunk. And all of a sudden, it's gone to 13, the largest lead of the game. Carolina has some crazy offensive numbers. When you think that they grab an offensive rebound on 43% of their missed shots, I mean, just think of that number. Almost half the time they miss, they get their own rebound.
That's exactly right. And sometimes when they go cold shooting from the perimeter, the second shot is actually their best offense, and they're one of the best in the country at converting offensive rebounds into points.
Coach Williams had joked a little bit recently that they get some Moses Malone guys on their team. Throw it up, get a rebound. Throw it up, get a rebound.
Way to pad the stats, fellas.
Here's Arians' 3-pointer. Man, forget the hook shot. Just go with the jump shot. Second 3 of the game. And it's back to a 10-point lead.
With John Collins in foul trouble and just coming back in and not quite warm again for Wake Forest, the perimeters are going to have to step up and make shots to climb back into this game.
Carolina would love to get a third foul on Mitiglu or Collins, and a nice job keeping by
Pass.
Pinson, and an easy layup. Points coming a little easy for Carolina. I heard Dan there talk about it back in our studios. And Chris, they're just going hard at the basket. There's not a lot other than Darrell Moore to defend the rim.
Yeah, especially with this lineup in right now with John Collins and Dinos Mitiglu with 2 fouls. I would just put my head down and drive because they can't come over and help because they can't risk picking up that third foul.
Under a minute to go. Berry goes to the bench. Moore is back in. Smart substitution. They'll get Collins back to the bench.
Dinos Mitiglu was actually around campus this summer for the first time. 4 or 5 years straight, this kid hasn't had a break. As soon as the season over, he goes over and plays with his Greek national team. Right. And so Coach Manning kept him out of the trip from playing on their trip in the Bahamas, trying to allow him to refresh and recharge. And he's looked really good here early in the season.
How about his body change over the last 3 years?
35 pounds this kid has put on over the last 3 years, and it's really allowed him to be a little bit more of a force down in the painted area on post-ups, and he's become a better rebounder as the result of it as well.
He became somewhat reliant on the three-point shot, so the nickname that they gave Mitiglu was Three-to-Glue.
Yes.
And now that he's gone back down low a little bit, they changed it from Three-to-Glue, and he said, call me Post-to-Glue. Which is great. They'd like him to be Defend-to-Glue right now.
Indeed.
2-3 zone, 45 left in the first half.
Get that ball short corner, penetrate, or you can screen it as well.
Open three, and a nice three-point shot from Nate Britt, who's into the game and picks up his first points of the night.
And folks, that's what the dribble penetration does. It causes that defense to collapse, and you kick it across the floor. You can get some wide open looks. Beautiful execution there on the offensive end for Carolina against the zone.
About 2-second difference between shot and first half game clock.
Yeah, high ball screen coming. Let's see if they can roll Arians behind to get him a three.
Mitchell Wilbekin launches from three, in and out, and that was close. They'll have 8 seconds to push it. Plenty of time, and they have a wide open Kennedy Meeks underneath. Big mistake on defense by Wake Forest.
Too many easy opportunities Wake Forest gave Carolina in the last 4 minutes of this game. That's how they've been able to stretch it out to 15.
You know, I wonder if all Wake Forest defenders reacted to a near steal, but in doing so, they lifted their heads up. Meeks went down into the paint, and he was wide open. Carolina hits 11 of their last 16 shots. They go to the break up a comfortable 15. And speaking of comfortable, Land Rover halftime
balance in the first half.
They had great balance. You see the leading scorers, and it's a bit misleading because the two guys who aren't seen, Kenny Williams and Justin Jackson, each had 7 points. So you had all 5 starters with 7 points or better. Joel Berry, the leader, 11 on 4 of 6 from the field. The other big number to look at, 9. And that was the number of minutes that John Collins played because of foul trouble. Now, Collins obviously is back in the game. When he's in there, their offense plays a lot better. But you're down 15. Think about it. The Wilbekin three-pointer goes in, and the two-pointer that Carolina scores at the buzzer doesn't happen. Instead of 15, you're at 10.
Yeah, and to your point, Ravi, at this stage of the game, you're down 15. You can't try to go for home runs here. You got to get stops on the defensive end and attack off the bounce on the offensive end here, as we show John Collins there.
Disaster. We haven't played 8 seconds, and he picks up his 3rd foul.
Wow.
That's a game changer.
Yeah. They have no shot of beating Carolina with John Collins over there on the bench.
8 seconds in, Collins picks up his 3rd foul. Big problems, and a little fadeaway jump shot there to get things started for Isaiah Hicks now in double figures with 10.
And we talk about inexperience, right? With this Wake Forest team, folks. 8 of their 13 guys are freshmen and sophomores. And for this team to take that next step, you gotta start to think like a veteran here as a senior. Knowing that you have 2 fouls, you have to be careful, maybe give up some stuff, but certainly not get a silly foul when your team needs you so desperately in the first 20 seconds here of the second half.
What you are getting are better minutes from number 4, Darrell Moore.
Yes.
But you can see Collins sitting there on the bench. And it's nice to develop, but you don't necessarily want to develop during the middle of a game, especially against a team as good as North Carolina.
Yeah, and Darrell Moore was terrific at protecting the rim in the first half. 3 huge block shots when it looked like Carolina was getting ready to run it to 20.
Good steal, step in, and that's going to be a foul on either Moore or Woods. They're going to call it on Moore. And in a way, it feels like, and maybe you've been a part of teams like this, Fonz, that in so many ways, Wake is losing the game versus North Carolina winning the game, where they're making it easier for Carolina. Yeah,
little things, mental errors in terms of fouls, not getting back in transition, giving up easy baskets. Because remember, Ravi, first 6 minutes of this game, their half-court defense, Wake Forest, was terrific, forcing Carolina to shoot over the top, whether it be from the three-point line or inside the painted area. We didn't see that in the last 4 minutes of that first half.
The attack on Justin Jackson, and that ball goes. It's a good shot by Bryant Crawford.
But now can you get back and get picked up, because Carolina is great at running it right back at you after made baskets.
Moore there to contest the first one, but the offensive tip-in is Justin Jackson.
And if there's an area of his game that Coach Roy Williams wants him to get better at, it's that. At 6'7", 6'8", getting more on the offensive glass, and he did it on that last possession.
Pretty play by Crawford, the up and under and the foul. So he's trying to do his part to keep this game close.
And folks, I really like Bryant Crawford. This kid, we talk about the heart and soul of Carolina being Joel Berry. He's the heart and soul of this Wake Forest team. And when he's aggressive, this Wake Forest team is really good. He's going to have to take it over here in the second half, especially with John Collins on the bench with 3.
So you're looking for a Bryant Crawford show.
Yes.
Well, he's got 15 now, so the show is underway. He's 5 of 8. And his 3 assists. He's second in the ACC in assists with 95 coming into the game.
We need a Russell Westbrook type performance from number 13.
A little triple-double. How about Berry's use of the body and then a high soft one off the window?
Just a bulldog of a guard. When you let him get downhill full speed, he is nearly impossible to guard one-on-one.
The trading baskets is not going to allow Wake Forest to win this game.
No.
And that's a tough shot. No left hand at all for Arian, so it's blocked. And a 2-on-1 breakout. Berry finishes it.
And Ravi, Carolina, they get out and finish so quickly, didn't allow me to say anything, but typically bad shots lead to layups on the other end, and we've seen that several times tonight with Wake Forest and Carolina.
Well, now you can see they got 4 outside of the arc, only 1 under. Sort of a Bill Self Kansas type offense. It frees up Minigoots for a 3, and he buries it from the baseline.
Yeah, they need 44 to get going here to give some balance.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Without. And folks, again, bad shots typically lead to runouts. And a bad shot there, a beautiful block shot there by Justin Jackson. And you talk about a team that really converts. They don't jog up the floor, Ravi. They sprint to the front of the rim. And that's the brilliance and the greatness of this North Carolina team.
So they're 5 shy of what they usually get when it comes to transition points in a game. And the way Wake Forest has mishandled the ball, there's a good chance they'll exceed 17. They put themselves in a tough spot with Collins in foul trouble, and another learning experience for Danny Manning and his Wake Forest team. And the drive and a bucket. Bryant Crawford having a terrific second half. He now has 17 in the game.
Yeah, what I love about him is he's very patient and letting the offense come to him, but he's aware that it's desperate times right now, and he's got to become more of a factor on the offensive end. He's getting a mismatch with the big, and he's putting his head down and getting to the front of the rim. Good recognition by Bryant Crawford.
Give May the foul. Another free throw miss, though. And here's a run out. Justin Jackson one-on-one. He's got a mismatch. Good defense, and it's off Jackson. Nice job by Wilbekin. And you could just imagine that Wilbekin and his brother Scotty had some of those one-on-one games in which he had to do this to his older brother.
And I love this play by Wilbekin. Most often when someone's running at you on the bounce, you tend to get to the side of him and allow him an angle to the basket. Not that time with Wilbekin. He jumped on this opposite hand there, making it difficult and getting a possession for his team.
Another foul. Good drive by Keyshawn Woods. He used the rim for a protector. Took the block out of play. He just couldn't convert the layup.
And, Reverend, what we're seeing here from Wake Forest is with John Collins out of the game, them not having that interior guy to give it to that can get them points in the paint, they're getting them off the bounce. And I like how aggressively they're attacking the rim. They've got to continue to do that and get stops on the defensive end.
Take a look at Collins on the bench. He's bummed out. He played 9 minutes in the first half and 8 seconds in the second before he picked up his third foul. Going to the bench for Carolina with 4 fouls now is Luke May. We'll just bring in Isaiah Hicks.
That's the depth of that front line for Carolina. One gets in trouble, they just keep coming at you. And even if one of Kennedy Meeks or Isaiah Hicks would get in foul trouble, all they would do then is slide Justin Jackson, who's 6'8", down to the 4 spot. Unbelievable versatility Roy Williams has at his disposal.
Little baseline hook shot is missed, and Wake Forest with the run out. Here comes Woods to the hole.
Nice.
Wilbekin 3. Good arc. A little more arc on that one than they won at the halftime buzzer. And just like that, we're down to 10. Meeks to the hole. Easy layup. Nobody there to stop him.
Got to make him at least change direction to allow an extra defender to come over and challenge the shot. Missed opportunity defensively there by Wake Forest.
Brandon Childress controlling the ball, gets it down low, and looked like perhaps got away with some steps.
Yeah, Greg McClinton there with his dancing shoes on.
They're going to get the foul on top. That's Kenny Williams. We're under 16, and a nice comeback with Collins on the bench. Wake Forest down only 12, sticking around, hoping to stay that way, so Collins can get back in.
With John Collins over on the bench, we said earlier that he needed to take the game over here in the second half, and he has done that indeed. 17 points here, and I love how he's attacking off the bounce, getting to the front of the rim. They're going to need a lot more of that to get back in this game.
Career high 22. Childress, three-pointer from the corner, and a nice assist from Keyshawn Woods. Down by 9, all with their best player. John Collins on the bench with 3 fouls. Look like Carolina had come out of that timeout. A little more intensity on their defense. Jackson, big 3. Got it.
It's a really pretty find by Kennedy Meeks. Jackson's guy helped in on the interior. Jackson faded out to the weak side of the floor, showed his hands. Kennedy Meeks put it on the hands. Justin Jackson drills it.
They have answers, huh?
Yeah, indeed.
They keep answering. Ooh, they're going to call that the other way, and a little extracurricular from Greg McClinton. He grabbed that offensive rebound.
And folks, in talking to Danny Manning earlier today, he said when they were able to, Wake Forest, get into the painted area, you got to think pass. And what a beautiful job by Brandon Childress, relocating to the deep corner, making that a longer closeout, giving him a perfect look at the rim. And he drills that one from 3. Need a lot more of that here in this second half. Wake Forest got to get this under 10.
Justin Jackson launches another 3, and that one goes in and out. Wake Forest is hot now, 8 of 16 from the three-point line.
I like how they've been getting them, Ravi. They've been getting it off the drive and the kick. They've got to continue to do so.
Wilbekin in and out. We're going to keep that one right here. It looks like they're going to get Isaiah Hicks. All right, you've seen the Saturday games we got, but how about Thursday? Number 20, Notre Dame. Boy, has Mr. Farrell been outstanding in the backcourt for them. They're in Coral Gables. They take on Jim Laranaga's Miami club. And after that one is over, AAC basketball, SMU, Shemi Ojale, one of the better players in the country, and Cincinnati Both games stream live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
And folks, look for Troy Copain to have a huge game for Cincinnati. He's kind of been the guy on the offensive end for them. A veteran player for Cincinnati. Point guard, really brings great balance and decision-making to that Cincinnati ball club, as well as being a terrific on-ball defender.
I love that. So is there a Fonzie crystal ball? Like, have you seen what Copain's going to do in that game? Like, have you already seen it in your own eye? Like, did you know he's going to have a big game?
Well, what's funny about it, he'll have a big game, Ravi, but the problem is Cincinnati plays at such a slow pace. They'd rather have the game in the 50s, and so, yeah, if he gets 13, 14 in the 50-point game, that's a pretty good game.
You saw that. We had an interesting conversation with Roy Williams. When you look at games, and maybe the ACC is a great example of it, and if you were to sit there as a coach and say, okay, let's look at the schedule and put a W or an L before the game is played, and other coaches that he know have done that. He said, I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, and the Georgia Tech thing may have been one of those where, I mean, you're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. You don't know how they're going to behave. He said he looked at a player coming into the practice today, and he was yawning. He said, see that? He was yawning during the Georgia Tech game. So at least now we're practicing. It's not during the game. The unpredictability of teenagers or early 20-year-olds.
Yeah, and what's so funny about it, it's a team sport, so there's more than one guy out there on the floor, but it has a tendency to impact and infect the entire team at times.
Collins did there. Back in. He doesn't pick up his fourth, but Meeks with an easy layup, and he's got 12. Fonzie, they need a stop. They need more than one, but they need a stop.
Indeed, but on the offensive end for Carolina, whoever John Collins is guarding is who's going to catch the ball down in the post, and he should go to work.
There's a drive, there's a steal. They're going to try to run, and they're going to run out in an alley-oop play. No, a bullet pass. Jackson couldn't hold it.
Should have thrown the lob there.
I was thinking alley-oop. Meeks with Miniglu on him. Backs him in, throws it up. They work that offensive glass, and it's going the other way.
I'll tell you what, Ravi, that's that 35 pounds that Miniglu has put on over the last couple of years. Last year and the year prior to, Kennedy Meeks would have been able to back him right underneath the rim. But now these 35 pounds heavier, he can hold this position, force Kennedy Meeks to take a tough challenge shot over the top. Great job by Miniglu.
13-36. They're already in the bonus, so Wake is going to shoot. That's Meeks' third. You get it to 10, and then you really got to knuckle down on defense.
Yeah. Get it to 10, and psychologically the game changes. And now all of a sudden Carolina, they're an experienced team, but all of a sudden they can start thinking a little bit Georgia Tech. And if Wake Forest can put a couple back-to-back stops together on the road, Ravi, you just never know. But under 10 is the magic number.
Did you have a team that was sort of the Georgia Tech team when you played? Like, uh-oh, here they come. We know we're going to lose this. Was there a team, an opponent for you where you just, there was like a curse? Like, we can't beat them. I can't beat him. Was there any of that for you?
I can't remember.
So you were that good. Things were that good.
No, because I'm old. but Butler was my Achilles heel when I was in college.
There are a lot of teams Achilles heel.
Yes, I try to remind people. People think that Butler's kind of a new thing. No, Butler was good 25 years ago.
Berry 3, that's off. There's your stop. Of course, Butler has recently beat then #1 Villanova.
Yes.
Into the paint, set up a 3, and Crawford didn't take it.
Yeah, missed Keyshawn Woods. He had a mismatch inside. #1 here for Wake Forest.
Good defense in the block. It goes out of bounds off Justin Jackson. 17, now 15 on the shot clock.
And, Ravi, this is where you can't get away from what got you here. When it looked like Carolina was going to run this thing the 20, Wake Forest started to put their head down and get to the front of the rim. They can't just shoot jump shots. They have to continue to attack the paint. If not all the way to the rim, if they draw a secondary defender to kick the rock like this.
Good kick. Crawford, big 3. Got it. Ryan Crawford having a huge night. He's got 20, 2 shy of his career high. And all of a sudden, the crowd here is back into it on the turnover. That's the hardest 3, the uncontested 3. No one is around you, and Crawford was able to make it.
Yeah, Justin Jackson went for a steal, dribble penetration to the elbow, sucked him in, knocked down the 3. He Wake Forest faithful, including the bench, excited about it.
64, 57, 12, 50 to go. Way off. Rebound. Mitiglu underneath. Blocked by Meeks and good defense.
I didn't like that shot, Ravi. I like it better when it's been able to come off the bounce.
Good kick. Jackson in the corner. 3. Off. Rebound. Wake. They'll try to run it.
Look for the drive and kick here.
Crawford.
Nice.
Oh, just off the iron. But it's coming easy and it's smooth for Bryant Crawford right now.
Ravi, I'm kind of old school. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And Wake Forest, the dribble drive in the second half has been great. They've been able to get to the front of the rim and finish, and they've been able to kick it for 3. Continue to be aggressive here. Look at this drive here by Brian Crawford. The hesitation, the cross, creating the angle to get to the rim. That was pretty.
When he went to the backboard and then the backstop, do you think he thought the ball was going in, or do you think he knew it missed on that layup?
That's a good question. I think he was frustrated that it missed because he could see it through the glass that it wasn't quite going to hang on. But how good has he been here today? 11 in the first half.
This matches his career high. He's got 22. And a 19-point lead now has been shaved to 5. And this crowd here at Lawrence Joel is on its feet.
Make Carolina take tough Jays and don't allow them to get on the offensive glass is the formula for Wake Forest.
Jackson to the rack, good drive, but he comes up short. Oh, they're going to call that off. Mitiglu, it's Carolina ball.
Great drive by Justin Jackson, but notice the late challenge made him change the angle of that shot. Nicely done by Wake Forest.
Mitiglu will take a break. Darrell Moore, who was very active in the first half, is now into the game.
North Carolina has to be patient against this 2-3 zone. When they've been able to get it to the short corner, they've been able to dive a big from that strong side elbow to the rim, and that's been a good formula for them against the 2-3 zone.
We're going to check to make sure that the ball actually hit the rim on that layup by Jackson.
You know, John McEnroe has the Mac cam. Do we have the Ravi cam?
I don't have the Ravi cam, but I like that idea.
We need to work on that.
Yeah. You know, last time we saw John McEnroe was at Citi Field in a Met game. You can see that it didn't appear to graze the rim at all.
Yeah.
7-0 run for Wake in the last 90 seconds.
Nope.
We're going to get the foul out top. Childress is saying, don't give it to Crawford, give it to me.
Yeah,
that didn't work.
That's right. And though it's a zone, you got to know that Theo Pinson is not a great shooter. And so the one thing you don't want to give him is the drive. Missed assignment there by the guards out front for Wake Forest.
And Brian Crawford picks up his 3rd foul. First free throw from Theo Pinson is good.
His defensive ability and emotional play a couple years ago off the bench made him the ideal player to fill the vacancy left by J.P. Tokido. Energy guy, can play 1 through 4. Valuable piece for Roy Williams, now back for Carolina.
Of course, Roy Williams began this season having to replace Marcus Page and Bryce Johnson. And Pinson makes them both. He's coming off of a broken 5th metatarsal in his right foot. He had surgery on November 26th. This is his 2nd game back.
Continue to drive the basketball, Wake Forest.
Moore with the high screen. And there's a break there because it didn't look like Brandon Childress had anywhere to go. Where he's going now with Joel Berry looking on confused is the free throw line. We got ourselves a game.
Hit in Louisville, and the Cardinals had to withstand a furious comeback by the Panthers. Look at Donovan Mitchell going coast to coast here. He had 15 on the night. Jamel Artis had 41, the 2nd most in Pitt history, but Cardinals held on. Carl?
Thank you, Chris. Artis and Young, so terrific for Pittsburgh, but you don't see Pittsburgh on this ACC standings list. And think about Louisville and how good they are. They're sitting there in a 5-way tie at 2-2. FSU, of course, on top.
Yeah, it's been a topsy-turvy kind of ACC season. Notre Dame and Florida State out to a tremendous start. Duke, I felt at the preseason, was the best team in the league, but of course with all of the injuries, and it seems like every time you turn around something's going on with
There's
Duke.
a lot of stuff that goes on right now in that Duke program.
Indeed. So it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back. In my opinion, the only way that they can bounce back and be the Final Four team that we all think they can be, it really depends on Emil Jefferson and his health going forward.
Yeah, they missed him last night, no doubt about it, as they were feasted on in the paint by Florida State. We got a 5-point game here with LaFonso Ellis. I'm Carl Ravitch, another turnover. And Wake Forest got a chance to cut it down even further. They're doing all this with their best offensive player on the bench in foul trouble. Three-pointer corner off, and kind of a quick shot for Austin Arians.
I like it better, Rav, when they're getting it off the bounce. The dribble penetration with kicking it for the three has been really good for Wake Forest. They shouldn't depart from it. Against this 2-3 zone, folks. Short corner, ACC area, and you got to be willing to make a play.
Kennedy Meeks, no chance. Darrell Moore with another block.
4 blocks tonight for Darrell.
Wilbekin launches a three. Look at Moore with the offensive rebound. A tie-up and a steal by Kennedy Meeks. Nate Britt. That's off. So a couple of empty trips for Wake Forest with the threes, and yet they haven't suffered because Carolina has been blocked and then missed their own.
I love what Keyshawn Woods, #1 for Wake Forest, just did. They were looking to push that basketball up the floor. He was like, nope, let's get something good here.
Brian Crawford, their leading scorer, on the bench.
Nice.
The take and a layup. Nice take by Brandon Childress.
Roger, what we've seen is Carolina has not been able to defend Wake Forest off the bounce. They got to continue to take him off the drive.
Justin Jackson will get a call out top on Childress. And that'll be Brandon Childress's first. Cavs and Blazers tonight. Don't miss SportsCenter at night. Kenny Mayne, good friend Kenny Mayne, Neil Everett, 3-2-1 back to do SportsCenter on the West Coast. Highlights, they'll break down the game from the college hardwood. The aforementioned Butler team in action tonight as well. NBA, NHL, NFL, playoff news. It's SportsCenter at night. It's your destination after our NBA Wednesday double dip on ESPN. It streams live on the ESPN app.
Doesn't get much better than Kenny Mayne and Neil Everett.
Old school. Three-pointer, Barry misses, ball on the floor. And it's controlled by Wake Forest. Woods one-on-one to the rack, and he gets it. It's a one-point game. Down 19, and now down 1. Long three. Off the iron, good offensive rebound, and they've made a living all year doing that. Kennedy Meeks, again, 43% of their misses. They grab the offensive rebound. Meeks has 14.
And that was a shot that was a questionable shot for Carolina, yet the ability to get on that glass and control it, impressive by Carolina.
I think Collins thought maybe Middleglue was going to take the three.
Folks, let's check out Wake on the break here. And I love the little hesitation there, in and out, and the finish at the rim. And then Carolina, ill-advised shot at the top, but their prowess on the offensive glass, one of the best teams in the nation. Doing a great job, Kennedy Meeks finding an angle and tapping that one in for the Tar Heels.
Number 20, John Collins, back into the game, and now he needs to get into the game. He just had a ball go off his hand out of bounds, which gave it back to Carolina.
See, I think if you're Carolina, you got to put a playmaker at that ACC area.
Oh, Joel Berry in your face with a three.
Oh, gosh.
18 points.
That was from Chapel Hill.
Foul out top, so we'll go to the free throw line.
Hey, Brad, I tell you what, Brandon Childress, #0 for Wake Forest, has given them some really good minutes tonight. He's made some great decisions out there on the floor. And what I like about him when he's in the game, it allows Crawford to play off of the ball.
I don't know if you saw college basketball last night. This has started to have a Kentucky Vanderbilt feel to it, where Vanderbilt hung around and hung around and hung around, but in the end, Kentucky's depth and their playmaking ability of De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk was just too much. And this is one of those where Wake kind of knocking on that door. I just wonder if they're going to be able to walk on through it. Again, Danny Manning Against AP top 25 teams here at Wake, they are 1-21.
Tell you what, this 2-3 zone's been really good, but Carolina got to keep it simple. Just throw it inside to the ACC area, but you got to get a playmaker there. I'd like to see a guy like a Justin Jackson or someone, or they got to get it inside.
Tough shot. Good defense by Mitiglu, but a nice fall away from Isaiah Hicks.
Folks, that short corner ACC area in the post, given this lineup for Carolina, is the sweet spot against that 2-3 zone.
Crawford back into the game. That's Childress. High three doesn't go. Meeks with a good defensive rebound. And the push. He's got 8 rebounds tonight.
Yeah, I thought Childress should have driven that basketball after that shot fake.
Every trip, 7:30 on the clock, feels big, especially for the team that's trailing. Good pass. Meeks gets the ball on the baseline. How about Joel Berry knocks that 3 down from 30 feet, and then a nice assist to Kennedy Meeks.
Yeah, we talked about earlier the soft spots or the sweet spots against that 2-3 zone. What a beautiful skip pass to the short corner area.
Danny Manning's talk about it here. He calls a timeout.
How about Carolina rising to the challenge there? Berry with a huge 3, and then
sure will be Duke and Louisville, a Sonic blockbuster game, and you could make the case that almost every game in the ACC takes on the Sonic blockbuster label.
Yeah,
that's a great one. FSU, Carolina. I think Notre Dame's going to have a good time in Coral Gables tomorrow night. That's going to be tough. There's a good pass, and kind of important to get John Collins back engaged in the game.
Yeah, it's good when you've been sitting out, Ravi, to actually bump someone or get a little lather, get something going. I love the call by Danny Manning to get him involved early. Now, mentally, maybe he can get in this game. They don't need him down the stretch.
Yeah, Justin Jackson's getting a call for the travel. He knew it. I don't think there was a deflection on the play. Went up for the shot, Fonz, and they said, I'll just drop it. Like a little game of hot potato.
Indeed. When you've been out for a while, it's important to get John Collins involved in the game, and Justin Jackson here.
That's Roy Williams. He's got a senior laden team, experienced laden team, and you can see him here trying to explain to Justin Jackson what happened.
but Coach, it slipped. That's one of those times, Ravi, you just go, okay, Coach, I got you. Next time, I'll get it back.
I'll try not to let it happen again.
That's right.
All right, Fonz, you're down here by 6. What's the game plan? What do you want to do to get points?
Yeah, dribble penetration has been really good for Wake Forest. They shouldn't depart from it, but also give some balance and get it inside to John Collins and let him go to work.
Well, they got it to Collins. He got fouled. With a couple of options, looks like they're going to give it to Isaiah Hicks. And for Isaiah Hicks, that's his 4th foul.
In the past, Isaiah Hicks has been bothered with foul trouble. Just a lot of silly fouls. Part of it for not having his feet in the right area, and so he would reach. He's been really good about that this year, so it's been fun to watch him grow in that area.
Fonz, how difficult is it, and you mentioned sort of bumping somebody and getting a little sweat going, to only play 9 minutes, get into the early foul trouble in the second half? It doesn't feel, as much as we're watching Bryant Crawford, who's engaged in the game,
yes,
the challenge that Collins is facing getting into this game.
Yeah, it can be hard. You have to tell yourself, because you're battling with a couple different things. I've been out. I've not gotten a feel for, I'm not in the flow. But all of a sudden, you got to overcome that with, no, I'm going to control what I can control. I'm going to get every single rebound. My man's not going to score. I'm going to get to the offensive glass, and if I can get some touches in the post, I'm going to go to work. And that's what his mentality has to be now.
Well, he just missed 2 big free throws, so the lead stays 6. Carolina's got the ball with 6 to go, the 3. And that's good. That's a big, big swing. Missing 2 free throws, and then the 3-pointer goes. And now it's 9.
The VCU commit, he's been really good for North Carolina with the injuries that they had here early, particularly to Pinson, has allowed him to get some valuable experience.
Wilbekin, he buries the 3 of his own.
And Wilbekin's one of the three guys that you can't go underneath the ball screen because he'll flame you as he did there. Nice read by Wilbekin.
Mitchell Wilbekin getting some significant time here in the second half. He and Childress have been outstanding as Jackson goes to the hole. Middleglue blocked it. There's another block by Collins. Meeks follows it up and he gets it. Kennedy Meeks, 18 now.
Yeah, he's been impressive tonight with his patience when he catches the basketball in the painted area. I like how when he catches it, he goes quickly. And on that one, after your shot's been blocked, you kind of panic sometime and want to get it back up. Not Kennedy Meeks, patient, had a good base, and put it off the glass in the end. Nicely done by number 3.
Bad turnovers. Middleglue took his eyes off at the run out. Crawford, he got the foul there, and he reached in. It's going to be 2 shots. It's going to send Kenny Williams to the line for Brian Crawford. That's his 4th foul.
And Ravi, that's just tough because, you know, this team has been so close so many times, and at some point you got to take that next step and say, okay, if we're going to lose, it's not going to be because I'm giving them the basketball or I'm creating silly fouls and that kind of thing. And for Wake Forest to take that next step, that's how it's got to be. They got to be a lot more disciplined in that part of the game.
Williams misses his first. And he misses his second, and the crowd goes bananas.
That's because if he misses both of them, everybody in the crowd gets a free Chick-fil-A sandwich. Does that include us?
Yeah, I don't think it does, but you're right. That is exactly. After that first one missed, the place went nuts because the second one would be a free chicken sandwich. 3-ball corner, big. Brandon Childress and Mitchell Wilbekin have been super in the second half.
And Ravi, that's what we talked about. Drive and kick or throw it into John Collins. I like the discipline there offensively for Wake Forest. I think you got to go to Meeks here. He's got John Collins guarding him.
Tough pass and good interior defense. Middleglue was there to knock it away. We're at the 4-minute mark. It's so often this year Wake has been in the situation and not been able to close the deal. Childress. He got it, and he's fouled. The offense tonight from Brandon Childress, Mitchell Wilbekin, and Brian Crawford. Childress has scored 14 points, and every one of those have come in the second half. Foul there on Meeks. It's a 3-point game with a free throw coming up.
By 16 right now, late in the first.
Hi, Chris. Thank you. Creighton is for real.
Yes.
The idea that Dougie McBucket's left and they fall off, forget it. They are for real. 3-point play completed by Brandon Childress. We got a 2-point ball game.
They've gone back to this 2-3 zone, folks, and again, the short corner is what's available, and they got to get the dive. I'd like to see Carolina put Justin Jackson there because it helps when you have a playmaker. What a skill.
Well, they've done that twice. Great pass. Down low to Hicks for the finish and the 14th point of the night for him. And the lead back to 4.
And that's that short corner area that we've seen North Carolina exploit all night long. Either the same side pass or the skip. That time it was the skip. Dribble penetration for Wake Forest or inside to John Collins is the solution here.
Good block by Meeks, and it will stay Wake Forest ball.
And folks, we've talked about the soft spots against that 2-3 zone. Watch Justin Jackson, 6'8", can see over the top, hits the short corner, and Isaiah Hicks has got mega bounce and finishes it strong for Carolina.
Crawford 4 fouls. He's been on the bench for a while. Wilbekin, Childress have been outstanding offensively. This is Childress. A lot of dribbling goes through, and it's a foul, which will send Childress to the line. Carolina helped there a little bit with the shot clock down to 2.
Yeah, and Ravi, all night long, Carolina has done a poor job of defending off the bounce. And late here in the game with 3 minutes to go, Wake Forest can't depart from it. They have to stay with it If they don't have it, look for John Collins early, and if they can't get him inside, they have to continue to attack off the bounce, but you can't miss free throws in this situation.
Free throw shooting has hurt them a little bit. It feels like they've missed more. That's only their 7th miss from the free throw line. One of the better free throw shooting teams in the country. And the lead for Carolina, 3 with 3 to go.
Against man, throw it inside. John Collins is guarding Kennedy Meeks. Kennedy Meeks got 18 in the game. Got to get it to the big fella.
Shot clock at 5. Barry looked like he may have gotten away with an extra step, but no call.
Ravi, at some point, you got to get Brian Crawford back into this basketball game to close. He's one of your closers. He's been on that bench for a while.
Childress out top, looking for somewhere to go, gets it to Collins. He'll shoot, he'll miss, and he's been off all night.
Yeah, settled for the J there versus being in attack mode trying to get to the rim. Missed opportunity there for Wake.
2 minutes to go, and a must stop, it feels like, for Wake Forest. Hicks drives hard. Blocked by Collins, and the run out for Wake.
Nice.
Childress, no good. Tap back. And it's going to be Wake ball. Good effort by Mitiglu to keep it alive. Collins with 3 fouls. That's a big block he comes up with on Justin Jackson. Easy drive, good layup. You've been calling for it all night as Mitchell Wilbekin goes to the hole. And again, it's a 3-point deficit.
How about Carolina, folks? I've been asking for them to get that basketball inside to Kennedy Meeks, but they've been unwilling to do so at this point. But what they've been able to do is to put the basketball on the floor and get to the rim. And Joel Berry, look at the little in and out dribble. Thought he got away with a little travel there and kicked it underneath to Justin Jackson.
What do you mean you thought he got away with a little travel?
And then on the offensive end, for Wake Forest, dribble penetration has been so good for this team. Wilbekin making a beautiful read, turning down the ball screen, hitting the baseline side, and getting to the rim. Officials missed a big one there.
That was a travel. North Carolina has averaged 89 points a game this season, amongst the tops in the nation. They sit at 84 now as we have the inbounds for Carolina. With a $1:20 to go, and the crowd here at the Joel Memorial Coliseum anticipating a chance to knock off a top 25 team.
Dribble penetration's been good for North Carolina, or when they've been able to get it inside to their bigs.
They get 8 on the shot clock. Justin Jackson, long 3. Oh, what a clutch shot from Justin Jackson.
That's that little box set there where they set that little pin down for him coming off, and Justin Jackson rips one.
Mitiglu short. Rebound Collins. Blocked from behind by Meeks. And a foul, and Carolina gets a huge 3 from Justin Jackson. And then a good defensive play on the block by Kennedy Meeks.
And folks, Justin Jackson is one of the best in the country of creating space to be able to get open for shots. That time came off a double pin down, curled over to the basketball, and drills a huge 3 for the Tar Heels.
Real balanced scoring tonight for North Carolina. For Crawford, that was his 5th. He's out of the game, but look at the numbers. Berry 18, Meeks 18, Jackson 17, Hicks 14, and Williams in double figures with 10.
And we talked about their depth and their balance, and both have been on display here tonight for the Tar Heels.
So Crawford and his 22 points on the bench. One-on-one for Nate Britt.
Carolina's
no good, and boy, the nightmare for Collins continues as he dribbles it out of bounds.
Yeah, that early foul trouble. He's been out of sync the entire game. Got to get a quick foul here. Go for the steal and get a quick foul. Ooh, I thought.
But what are you seeing from Wake Forest that gives you any hope or encouragement?
The fight and the toughness when they were down 18, could have gone to 25, 27 in a hurry. They were able to close it, get it nearly tied. And so if Danny Manning, you got to be excited.
All right, well, here's some more of that fight, the turnover. It's a 6-point game all the way to the rack, and a foul and a basket. Not done yet, Keyshawn Woods.
Rabbit, how good has the dribble drive been for Wake Forest here in the second half? I mean, it's been so very good. Keyshawn recognizing that he has a one-on-one opportunity at 6'3", a little bigger, a little stronger than Nate Britt, showing off the muscles on the baseline. Ravi here, make or miss. Got to go for a quick steal, and if you don't get the steal, you got to foul.
78% free throw shooter on the season. It's good. 32 seconds to go. They don't get the run out. The inbounds and a foul right away on Isaiah Hicks. Isaiah Hicks, 77% free throw shooter. He'll shoot one-on-one.
Yeah, and that's a luxury that Carolina has. Most teams, Ravi, you get to this stage, you have to play the offense-defensive game because your bigs aren't good free throw shooters. Not so for Carolina. Isaiah Hicks is an excellent free throw shooter. How about that? Your 6'9", 242-pound senior power forward steps up to the line and knocks it down. He's 5 for 5 from the line tonight.
That's how you go from 77% to 78 in one game. Trending to 79.
Indeed.
Got them both and hit no rim at all. 31 to go. Wake Forest, a good three-point shooting team. They're going to need some of that. 89-84 here in Winston-Salem. 11 of 26 from 3 tonight. Wilbekin's got 3. Childress has a couple. And Crawford, who also had a bunch, is fouled out.
North Carolina will guard the three-point line, so they may be able to get all the way to the rim.
They forgot to guard there. Childress off. Offensive work being done. Who comes up with it? Carolina does. Boy, Childress was left wide open for a 3, and he didn't get it to go. And unfortunately for John Collins, he was in the middle of that offensive scrum and couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, Brandon Childress has had himself a night with 14 points in this game. Kennedy Meeks left him wide open. And tonight he's been really good from the three-point line at 2 of 4. And that's a shot that he can definitely knock down. Missed opportunity there for Wake.
Williams hits the first. As a team, Carolina's a 70% free throw shooting club.
Quick push and kick here for Wake Forest.
Oof, they'll call the foul. Almost looked like a held ball, but instead a foul, and that stops the clock. Give Kenny Williams the foul.
Sometimes there, Ravi, you got to go ahead and give that one up because the clock continues to run. That's a bad foul there.
Chris Hassel and Lisa Kearney standing by to bring us the day and night in sports on SportsCenter. Free throw in and out by Keyshawn Woods.
Yeah, Ravi, this game has had a really good flow to it. Wake Forest early on were really good defensively, forcing Carolina to take jump shots. Then all of a sudden Carolina remembered that the strength of their game is in the paint. They started to attack. And just when this game looked like it was going to go to 30, Wake Forest showed great fortitude to battle back into this game, but just can't make the plays down the stretch to close the deal.
And the trap game mentality that some may have ascribe to for Carolina in this game. Off of the NC State win and a huge test coming up with Florida State at home this weekend. It's just a game. This is an escape game. It looks like they're going to hang on and win it, pick up a road win. Improved to 3-1 in the ACC. We showed you the standings and just how bunched up it is.
Yeah. And a balanced effort by this North Carolina team. All five of their starters in double figures in scoring. Really impressive offensive effort here. But going forward, Ravi, they're going to have to tighten it up on the defensive end, because you can't allow the elite level teams to be able to beat you consistently off the bounce, as Wake Forest has done tonight.
Keyshawn Woods makes it, and that's going to do it, as they will dribble the clock out. Carolina comes into Wake Forest and walks away with another win. North Carolina has beaten Wake Forest more than any other opponent, and they add to their totals tonight. It's been a blast, my man. We'll do it again, Fonz.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Ralph.
All right. 93-87, the final score. For the entire crew here in Winston-Salem, I'm Carl Ravitch saying so long. Chris Hassel, Lisa Kearney with Sports.